No,
No,
not yet.
no.
So,
Not yet.
Frank, welcome to the show.
Hey, no
Welcome,
problem.
Frank.
Thanks for
Good to see
joining
you. Good
us.
to meet you.
Likewise.
Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
Sure. So, work for Flexential. Been in the industry, God, too long.
Couple of
A
years.
couple of years.
Yeah, a
Just
couple of years. I used to have a
That's what
lot
we've
more
been-
hair when I started.
I got, I'm right there with you.
You
Yeah.
know, so like over 35 years in the IT industry. Triple E by training, product management most of my career, all around high availability, disaster recovery. Currently work for Flexential, head up their product management team for data protection services. That includes disaster recovery, backup as a service, managed storage, object storage. And here in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, talking to you guys about what Flexential does, and let's get the show going.
Yeah, Frank, let's get your mic a little closer to your mouth. You can turn it there
Oh,
There you go.
so we can.
oh,
make
that
there-
the camera wasn't on during that whole time.
No, the camera's on. So tell us a
Awesome.
little bit.
Oh, okay,
about-
just checking.
Yeah, no, we're here. We
Oh
got it
man,
all.
you guys are hard interviewers
Oh, we
here.
haven't even gotten started yet.
Yeah.
So we got a bright light that'll come down in a minute.
Oh,
Yeah.
But so tell us a little bit more. A lot of our audience may not be familiar with Flexential, or they haven't interacted with you guys at a
Sure.
show before. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do and how you help people in our profession.
awesome. Sure. So Flexential is an IT services company, has been in business for over 24 years in one incarnation or another. It was a merger of ViaWest and Peak 10.
Okay.
Right. So the 24 years goes back. ViaWest is 24 years. I think Peak 10 was 23, 22 years. We have 41 data centers in the US, 10 of which are cloud data centers. We service 19 markets in the US, and our services are focused around a platform, which we call Flex Anywhere. And that platform has infrastructure as a service in the form of co-location, in the form of managed services, cloud services, transport services, on-ramps to hyperscalers, things of that nature. Our clientele is broad. We do a lot of different things for different folks. Everything from co-location to fully highly available cloud infrastructures. And customers use us because of the brand reputation, right? Where they need us to be. We're a proven, brand in the industry, and we have great services. Case in point, from a disaster recovery perspective, at this show, our marquee data protection service is disaster recovery as a service, DRAS. We're a Zerto Platinum partner. I've been with Zerto since 2012. As a platinum partner, we protect over 10,000 workloads on our 5 disaster recovery cloud nodes. So out of those 10, 5 of them are also disaster recovery. And we do it really good. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're really good at it. I mean, we have professional services that wrap around a self-service offering that allows customers to, with one click, do DR testing, DR failovers. We protect at the application level, low RTOs, recovery time objectives, low recovery point objectives. Did I mention we have happy customers?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And we have a lot of PS services that wrap around
Would you
it.
tell us if they weren't?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would. Would. We have PS services that try to align or, to NIST cybersecurity framework. So if it's, from incident response to cybersecurity assessments, the whole gamut, right? So we can wrap around that customer and help them with their availability and resiliency, which is really important today in the world of ransomware.
Exactly.
Right?
I find what your organization does so interesting just looking at Flexential, because we work with organizations and we talk to organizations. If they go down or they have a little outage, it's okay. And I feel like running co-located data centers, if you have an outage as Flexential, you're out of business.
Oh, of
because your
course.
clients are like,
Yeah.
we pay you, so we never go down. And if you go down, so I would feel like a lot of organizations talk about, we wish our BC program was more robust. We wish our DR program was more robust. I would imagine that Flexential is like the king of out of 1 to 5 scale, you're like a 7
Yes.
in terms of DR because it is so critical
Yeah.
to the business.
Yeah. And you know what? It's, and I think there's like a false security blanket out there, right? And you see a lot of service providers, offer crazy SLAs.
Yeah.
Right. And the SLA is interesting, but it's not really compelling. Because at the end of the day, if you go down, no matter how much money somebody's going to pay you back, they're going to pay you some fraction back of whatever you spend. It's meaningless because your reputation is damaged. You had an outage. You weren't able to service your customers. So, really partnering with somebody that takes it seriously, has experience, a track record, has referenceable customers, happy customers, it's really important. And just because you go into a highly available data center and you have A and B power and you have N+2, that's great. But the reality is that things happen, right? Natural disasters happen. And today, ransomware is the number one reason for outages that companies are having. And after ransomware is human error, right? So if you're looking at disaster recovery and you're thinking, where's the hurricane? No hurricanes come here. We no earthquakes. Time out. You're missing the boat because right now, when I'm talking to CIOs, all I hear about is ransomware.
Yeah.
Right?
And how many stories have we seen where they have ransomware and they try to fail over and it doesn't work?
Yeah.
Or they go to the backups and they're corrupt
because
no one's ever tested them. And they're like, oh, we've had this backup schedule in place for 14 years and it doesn't work. Well, and they find out now, like your primaries are down.
Yeah.
And you've got a nice disk array that's a Christmas tree, basically.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think it was Benjamin Franklin that said it, right? So, if you have applications that are highly sensitive, it's imperative that you have multiple layers of security up front to prevent it, right? Do risk assessments, do penetration testing, have advanced firewall technologies, make sure that you have a SIM, you're correlating all the logs from all your infrastructure. Back up your environment, make sure that you have immutable backups. But the reality is days of recovering from tape, I think that's gone on by way of the dinosaur, right? People need to replicate today. I mean, I can't think of a modern company, right, that's IT enabled. They have websites, they have customers, they have supply chains that can be down for 24, 48 hours and can sustain losing 24 hours worth of data. So, you got to find those tier 1 applications, right? We all know about business impact analysis, tiering your applications, knowing the dependencies, right? Take that tier 1, tier 0, replicate it out, right? Asynchronously replicate it out, get it at least 100, 150 miles away, right? Before Sandy, we people would say what, 60 miles? After Sandy, everybody's like, no.
Time zones.
Times.
Yeah, it was 60 and 60, if I recall, when I first
nothing will
started.
ever
60
happen.
miles or
Nothing-
60 minutes.
Nothing will ever be bigger than that. So we're good.
Yeah. So we say 150, right? And even after Sandy, people were saying, no, you got to have east and west.
Yep.
I mean, like you said, time zones, right? So take that tier 0, tier 1 application, replicate them out, make sure that you can get up and going double fast, triple quick after a disaster. If in that technology, you got to be able to roll it back. So it's not, hey, I can come back 5 seconds ago. Well, how about if you're corrupt 5 seconds ago? What do you do then? So you got to have a recovery point capability to go back, at least 2 days, ideally, 5, 30 gold prize, right? Because after 30, you can now, if that's corrupt, you can go back to your monthly backups, grandfather son backups, right? That are on immutable storage off-site. And the reality is, if you've lost 30 days worth of data, it's not looking good. It's not looking good, right?
No, I know of a company that had an issue and they lost data and it took them well over 2 months just to get half of it back.
Are they still in business?
They are still in business.
Wow, they're a unicorn.
Yeah, but they had some huge challenges. And somehow, I don't know what they did, but they were able to somehow keep going, but they had to recreate so much data and make so many phone calls to banks and partners. What did we send you over the last
Wow.
week? What did we do? And to recreate all of that was unbelievable. I can't imagine being a customer of theirs.
That sounds
And
terrible.
it was. They told me it was an
I'm
absolute
not gonna lie,
nightmare.
that sounds terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's just inexcusable, right? It's almost negligence. If you're a CIO and you have a construct that yields that kind of outcome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like willful misconduct, right? I mean, you shouldn't be in that situation. I went to the doctor the other day, right? They messed up my prescriptions and everything, but before I went in, I got a little postcard that they were hacked, right? That my personal information was compromised. So the doctor's in there telling me, hey, you got to lose weight, exercise, so, had this, and that. His solution was exercise and lose weight for everything.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, by the way, so I'm like, all right, so I'm getting a lot out of this. So let me help you, Mr. Doctor. And I said, I got this postcard. There's no reason for you to for me to get this postcard. Some lawsuit and settlement and everything. It's like, wow, I don't know anything about IT. The other guy does. And I'm like, listen, just get a third party, have them come in, do penetration testing, look at your security posture. Well, we have an IT company. I'm like, it's like the fox guarding the hen house.
Yeah.
You got to have a third party. Doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
Right? So again, it's today's day and age. You got to have belt and suspenders. You got to have immutable backups. You have to have good backups. You got to have, instantaneous recovery. You got to test.
So when you work with new organizations,
sure,
what's the number one mistake you see that they're making?
Number one, they hear all the horror stories. They kind of downplay that it's going to affect them. Nobody cares about me, whatever. Who are we, right?
Doctor's office.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a number one is the denial, right? Number two, it's that it's not about they're not looking at it as an operational resiliency, right? They're looking at it as a checkbox.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
hey, I hear the best practices to do this. Right. So they don't really understand what's out there. Right. It's like, I'm from outside of Philadelphia. And I think we all hear all the bad press about Philadelphia. Right. You don't go walk through some parts of Philadelphia in the dark. Right. So you got to really think about what you're doing and taking out, do some prevention, take it seriously, don't downplay it. And it's not a checkbox. You got to test it, right? And you hear a lot of people, well, we have spreadsheets and we have Word documents, because we have a mix here at the show. A lot of resiliency folks, a lot of DR folks, kind of like business and IT. And the resiliency folks are all about documentation. I'm like, Yeah, you need the documentation, but the reality is that in today's day and age, technology changes like that.
Yeah, I need the data. I need my
Yeah.
data.
Right? If you're relying on a spreadsheet, if you're
It's already
relying
outdated.
on a Word document to tell you what to do or what things are, good luck with that.
And that stuff itself can get corrupted easily by wrong keystroke and everything. And there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like you know, if you look in the scale up, scale down world that we live in, right? People are writing scripts, automation, to scale up, scale down, clone, move, right? No spreadsheet's going to keep up with it because the spreadsheet's dependent on a human, and everybody's working like 5 different things. Nobody has time to update a spreadsheet, and it's only as good as the person putting it in.
Yep.
Right. And if you have an RTO of 24 hours, 48 hours, how long did it take you from when Bob or Sue or Mary told you about that change for you to update the spreadsheet?
If you even remember that you have to update the
Yeah,
spreadsheet.
right.
If you even got told that you need to update
Yeah,
it.
right.
That's what I often see is they're like,
Yeah.
oh, we changed that system 6 months ago. Who'd you tell? Oh,
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to use tools, right? Tools that are automated and orchestrated, right? That's going to take care of the majority of your workloads. You're going to have the peripheral stuff, your network, your securities that aren't part of the tool that you need to document, right? You know, there was I'm trying to think of who the customer was. Oh, I won't mention names, right? But it was a large university, very well known, could be in the top 10 in football polls here.
Oh, so then you'd be able to figure it out.
Right?
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet.
All right. I'm not going to say any more than that because it's not fair to them, right? And we're having lunch and we're discussing, and the lady's describing their environment. They got mainframe, they got iSeries, they got AIX, they got Windows and Linux distributed all over the place, different data movers, you know, backup technologies. And I'm like, oh my God, that's a mess, right? Their data centers are within, I think, 15 minutes, she said, of each other. I'm like, and she's like, well, what do you think? And I'm like, I think that's not a very pretty picture. You know, I'm like, you know, listen, you know, make me emperor for a day and at least standardize your backup technology. That way you can leverage multiple people to solve a single problem. But if every school or every application has a different backup technology, what happens if that person's not available?
Yeah.
Who's going to fill in? Oh, well, they have, you know, third-party vendors that can come in.
Of course.
Right. But well, you don't need that, right? Why not everybody just pick a platform and be done with it? You know, if it's a tier 1 platform, if it's been around, today they may be the best. Tomorrow, another one may leapfrog them. But just wait. They'll leapfrog them, right? That's how it's been in the industry. And just you gotta get simple, right? Take the complexity out of it, focus on, you know, the business.
Absolutely. So Frank, if people want to learn more about Flexential or get in contact, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, flexential.com is the best way to go. If they're here at the show, they can stop over at booth 203. Talk to us. Happy to talk to anybody that needs help, right? Or just wants to chat. We love to share our experiences. You know, we take what we do seriously. We want to help folks, right? And it's, you know, it's very satisfying helping our customers and get through some of the challenges that are out there.
Great.
Yep. Thanks so much for stopping by, Frank.
Are you calling it? Is that it?
That's all.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Nice
we had
and
more
easy.
time.
Oh, we're almost to the end.
Oh my gosh. You guys are like,
Well,
okay.
it just went by quickly. That's all.
I had so much more to tell.
Well, like
Next
what?
time.
Yeah. Next
Next
time.
time.
Definitely.
God, all right. Well, if that's how it's going to be. But hey, listen, these guys are great and great show. And thank you for your time.
Thanks,
Thank you
Frank.
for stopping by. But
Have
you
a good
didn't
one.
answer.